Welcome. Um, so this video is something that you'd want to watch if you missed, what's today? Today is Thursday, the 16th of February. Um, we did a lot of practice of graphing today. Now, I started off class mentioning that one of the mistakes that I saw on the test was this. You want to be really careful. I realize the students, yes, it's good to memorize these values of x, but we need to know when to use them, and we need to be plugging them in to the parent function. So on your test, there was something, I'm just going to make this up, it was something like this, where you had some transformations, you had an a, an h, and a k. So some students plugged in -8, -1, 0, 1, 8, because those are good values to use for a cube root function. And then they said, oh yeah, well, y equals -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Yeah, but if you take that -8 and plug it in here to the parent function, you would have seen, and there were only a couple people that did this, but I just want to make sure that we're clear. If you plug in that x to your parent function, you get the square root of -x. Can we do that? Can we find the square root of a -8? Yeah, we can. It's imaginary, and we can't graph it. So it's not a real number. So these values would not work for this parent function. In this case, we'd want to use 0, 1, 4, 9, and maybe 16. So today we need to be really careful about which values we're plugging in, and that we're just plugging them into the parent function. All right. So first of all, finding the parent function. This is how I suggest it. Ooh, oops. I need that minus sign down there. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, so let's say I gave you this, and I say, well, what's the parent function? Well, you need to kind of see, well, this really is a plus k. I'm gonna hide that plus k, and this really is minus h, and I'm gonna hide that minus h. And here's really an a times something, and I'm gonna hide that a. So if I want to find my parent function, I need to hide all of the transformations. Then I can see what is my parent function. So here in this case, my parent function is y equals 2 to the power of x. All right, I want you to please start with those parent function values. So we're just going to graph the parent function, and then we're going to perform the operations in the order of importance. So we're going to multiply the y times 5. So our table for this one would look like this. Did I really just draw a straight line? Wow, okay, x, y. All right, so the next column over here, we're going to have 5 times y. Oh, sorry. And the next column would be, let's see, 5y plus 7. So because this is a stretch, it's affecting the y. Because this is a vertical shift, it's affecting the y values. We need to multiply before we add. Then the x values, what's affecting the x is up here. Let's get that out of there. All right, so x minus 4, I need to do the opposite. So I need to put x plus 4 right here. All right, and many of you did this exact thing on your test, and I was amazed and surprised and very happy that you guys were so successful on the graphing part of the test. So we're going to continue with that success. I just want to make sure, because when I'm grading, I'm definitely going to be going, okay, check, check, check. They did the 3 transformations to their parent values. I'm also going to check and make sure your parent values are correct. So, all right, our parent function values. All right, so let's go ahead and see what did we do in class. So we started with this function here. This got drawn extra. Sorry, this doesn't really belong here. That was an example of what not to do. Okay, so we had, okay, y equals 2 to the x. So we started with these values, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. These are the values that we're going to start with. I plug those values in to my x. So 2 to the -2. 2 to the -2 is the same as 1 over 2 to the positive 2. So that negative in my exponent tells me I need to do the reciprocal, 1 over 4, right? 2 squared is 4. So 1 over 4, 1 over 2, right? 2 to the negative 1. So I'm plugging in negative 1 here, 2 to the negative 1, 1 half. 2 to the 0 is 1, 2 to the 1 is 2, 2 squared is 4. So I get my values, I plot my values, I plotted them in pink, and then I showed you guys what not to do. This was my first graph. It looked like this. There were no arrows, there was no asymptote. This is not sufficient as far as a graph. I need to show that this asymptote, this graph approaches the asymptote, so I need to show that. I need to show that it's not crossing over the asymptote, that it's approaching it. Also that they're exploding, right? These numbers start to explode, so I want an arrow up. All right, so you want to draw your asymptote as a dashed line and put the equation y equals 0 if that is the asymptote. We have here domain and range. The range is all real numbers because all of my x's are involved. And did I just say range? I'm sorry, I may have said the wrong word. The domain is all real numbers and the range is all y's greater than 0. And we talked about, well, why is it not equal to 0? And we could keep going with these fractions. We go 1/2, 1/4, 1, oh my gosh, to the third, 1/8, 1/16. So it gets smaller and smaller fraction, but it approaches 0, but it never actually equals 0. So we're not going to have y's equal to 0. We're only having y's greater than 0, whatever our asymptote is. Okay. Now, if it was reflected, it would be y's less than. So we have to check and make sure, not say it's always greater than, but check. All right. So we did another one. I was pointing out, remember, we need to find what's the parent function. So I covered all those things up. We found the parent function was y equals 2 to the x. Then we perform the operations. We multiply times 3 because it's a stretch. We add 1 to those 3 y values, and then we add 1 to our x values because it's x minus 1. We use these x and these y to find our graph. And that is pretty much what you missed on Thursday if you were out. So we tried a couple more in class, and your homework tonight is to watch day 19 video. I'm getting all my days mixed up. Day 19 video. All right, see you guys in class. Thank you for watching this.